24 years ago, Julia Lilithan stood on this sidewalk during early morning rush hour traffic, clutching her throat that had been cut during a violent attack by a man she did not know. It's a story Lilithan has only began sharing publicly very recently. And while the details are terrifying, Lilithan says the message is to not live in fear.
I'm Julia Lilithan. I was born and raised in Montana, grew up on ranches and farms.
When Julia Lilithan describes herself, she talks about her children and her grandchildren.
And 6 granddogs and 6 grandcats.
And her career passion of administering the Yellowstone County Spelling Bee.
Stay pretty busy.
But that's not the part of her life she's sharing with inmates at the Billings Alpha House. This is where things become much more personal.
I'm Julia Lilithan, and I am a survivor of a serial rapist and murderer.
For the past year, Lilithan has been traveling to correctional facilities across Montana, meeting face-to-face with felony offenders and sharing her story.
He came up behind me and I felt like I had been hit by a freight train.
On September 5th, 1998, Lilithan was working a paper route when she was attacked from behind, dragged into an alleyway, raped at knife point, and stabbed in the neck and face.
I knew that I couldn't keep fighting him off. I was worn out and tired and exhausted. The terror and the fear, and it paralyzes you. But then I thought of my kids and where they would be without me.
And Lilithan's attacker wasn't done. The same man then raped another woman 7 days later. On November 15th, 1998, he struck again, murdering 18-year-old Miranda Fenner at this video store in Laurel where she worked as a clerk.
I felt there was a connection there, and I did ask the detectives, and they said no, it was 2 totally different MOs, and they weren't even related at all.
And for 21 years, there were no arrests, until
it's a day of reckoning for a vicious monster.
42-year-old Zachary O'Neill came forward and confessed to it all.
We're relieved that there is an end in sight for the nightmare that's caused so much heartache and pain.
Lilithan faced O'Neill at his sentencing alongside Fenner's family. But the connection between the Billings grandmother and the crimes was not public. In court documents, she was anonymous, known only by her initials.
I leaned really heavily on my faith. At the very beginning, I questioned it. I really had a hard time because I felt, do I have a target on my back? What is this? How much more can a person take?
And that wasn't a story she was ready to claim publicly until recently, with the help of victim services groups.
And I want to advocate for other victims and survivors and for those that are unable to speak.
Over the last year, Lilithan has entered a new era of empowerment. She now travels the state speaking to inmates as part of the Department of Corrections Victim Impact Panels, a 13-week program designed to build empathy and reduce recidivism.
Thinking I was going to make a difference and I was going to help other people. But the truth is, people in the VIP program and the inmates have helped me so much.
Even helping Lilithan navigate the murky and tumultuous waters of forgiveness.
After he was sentenced, I did get a letter of apology, and he expressed regret, and I felt he was sincere.
As Lilithan prepares for her next presentation at the Montana State Prison where O'Neill is currently housed, she hopes to bring other people out of the shadows and down the path of healing.
From your heart, you're still hurting. 24 years later, it's still raw.
In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.